Hey, folks, you see the title. This is nothing's shocking here. Nothing's shocking. One of my favorite bands share an album title with the same name, but I digress. Anyway, a lot of folks, me included, been speaking on things like this for a very long time. This is just the latest faux pas here. Now I'm going to do, hopefully I'll have my Chicago one done in a couple of days, and I have video from inside the where the people were, the citizens were allowed to speak. I think they were given like 2 minutes or 3 minutes or something like that. I used to go on those things, and when I lived in San Antonio, down at City Hall in the mayor's office, and they look, oh, this guy again. They didn't like me, but they could never refute anything I said. It's like, well, I didn't say what you said wasn't true. We just said we don't like it and we don't like you. That's what they have been better off saying, but I digress. Now, the mayor Eric Adams said that nearly 50% of New York City hotel rooms are filled with migrants. Okay. And he's looking for help. He wants the rest of the state to take some, even some up in upstate. Now, you know, Albany ain't having none of that. We already know that Albany ain't having none of that. But, because it's like, no. The immigrants are for thee, not for me. And if I'm not mistaken, there's a county there in the state that's attempting to draw a lawsuit against the city of New York for trying to bring some up there. And I also done the video a few weeks ago. I think it's been a few, or maybe a month ago, where he was sending Adams were sending illegals to Canada, to the Canadian border. And Canada probably like, hey. Now, you know, that goofball that's running Canada, but he was elected just like our goofball was elected. So, you know, you don't like it, but it is. Trudeau is their guy, just like, you know, Side Road Joe is ours. It is what it is. But they have this problem. But New York has a homeless problem. You have a homeless vets problem. You have a homeless American-born citizen problem. They're already upside down millions of dollars, and he's now snapping at Side Road Joe, say he asking for federal help, and then he even went so far as to say, "Well, look, the sanctuary city clause for the city of New York was here before I was elected the mayor of New York." But wait a minute, but you gave these glittering, glamorous, glorious speeches about inclusion and this and immigrants and this, that, and other. But now you done changed your tune, man. Watch out. Let's go ahead and get this video going before I get myself start feeling a little bit of heat here. Let me get myself out of here and let's roll it.
The Adams administration says the migrant crisis here in the city is reaching a new high. The buses keep arriving, with officials repeatedly saying the city is reaching a breaking point. News 4 government affairs reporter Melissa Russo is live in the newsroom. And Melissa, even a city jail is now being talked about as an option for housing migrants.
It is, Chuck. Rikers Island is now one of the places being floated to house asylum seekers. The mayor says they're looking at hundreds of options. The mayor and his team will not say if Rikers is real. And one question is whether, after months of putting up migrants in midtown hotels, the city might be looking to deter them from coming here. 5 buses arrived today, and it is not clear if there is an end in sight.
Wait a minute. Deter them from coming? All inclusion? Sanctuary city state? What? No. Then they said, man, 4,000 illegals. Dude, I'm in Texas. they don't like when they get what they voted for and asked for.
Hola, bienvenidos.
It may be a migrant child's first memory of New York City, the literally uplifting moment when they stepped off a bus and received a playful welcome from volunteers on the ground. But many of these migrants remained waiting at Port Authority in the past hour as our sanctuary city scrambles for space to house them.
We got 4,200 people last week came to our city for shelter. I need everybody to wrap their heads around that for a moment.
They could end up sleeping anywhere from a midtown hotel, which Mayor Adams says is unsustainably expensive for taxpayers, to Rikers Island.
Everything is.
You know what we call 4,200 in Texas? Tuesday.
Being considered.
Parents and students today protesting the use of school gymnasiums, charging the city should not try to solve one problem by creating another. The city later in the afternoon moved some migrants out of schools.
We support asylum seekers not on school grounds.
But not because of the protests, they say.
I'm not reversing strategy. The strategy was to have emergency sites.
Little do those kids know, well, most of their parents are probably daft as all get out, because it is a liberal mecca, and liberalism don't understand the effects of liberalism until their same liberalism kicks them in the seat of their pants. And then they look to the right and say, who's responsible for this? Now, the right ain't clean. The right's hands ain't clean either, but they got dirt under their nails on the right, but the Democrats' hands, they're coated with mud almost up to their freaking elbows in this case. Now, dirt is dirt, but let's keep it a buck, okay? Those kids have no idea that they're going to be competing for work and sustenance with those people that they're cheering on to take up umbrage in their state.
For short-term respite, which always meant that people would move to another site when that became available.
Claiming the city is at a breaking point, Deputy Mayor Ann Williams Isom called on other cities to pitch in and help unburden New York. Meanwhile, the public pushback could help Mayor Adams make his case that President Biden should be offering more in the way of federal solutions. The mayor saying today he may or may not decide to use Rikers to shelter migrants, but that negative optics will not be a factor in that decision.
I'm willing to make the tough decisions and not get bottled down in what the optics are. And whomever is telling us not to go somewhere.
That's a nice tie.
I have one question from them. You tell me where we should go then.
Governor Kathy.
I'll tell you where you should go, where they should go, but you're not going to like my answer.
Hochul has asked President Biden to build federal shelters on federal property because she says this is a federal problem that is right now costing New York billions of dollars.
Wait a minute. Okay. Is Biden at the root of this? Yes. But I'm not caping for his for the sitting president, but you're a sanctuary city. You're a sanctuary city. And you're not the only sanctuary city. And you're not the only one that's getting illegals sent to you. Where I live, I don't live in my city is not a sanctuary city, or the county or the state is. But there's plenty of them here. But the difference about the county that I'm in, when they are caught, DPS holds them, INS picks them up, and they ship them down to Donna, Texas at the border. They do. And the thing is, yeah, and when we see them, you a snitch, you damn right. I will stand there, blow a whistle and shine a flashlight on them, waiting on the INS truck to come get them.
Because of New York's unique dual status as a sanctuary state with a right to shelter.
Okay, no. Stop. Oh no. We ain't doing the rain. No, not today. Next clip, folks. Okay, now this one here is also in New York, and it's by a YouTuber. I got this from a YouTuber named Sav Says. I hope I'm pronouncing it right, from the Rapid Fire. And it's large migrant population in hotels in New York City, and got kids with alcohol, violence, all kind of stuff. You're gonna see it here. I mean, this is crazy. So let's go ahead and get this one going, so we can get going.
New York City, the thriving and fast-paced metropolis, is currently in a state of emergency as over 60,000 illegal immigrants have made their way into the area. Mayor Eric Adams has recently declared that 50% of the hotels in the city are now filled with migrants, and for the first time, we're getting an exclusive look at what the inside of one of these hotels looks like. We sat down with whistleblower Carlos Arellano, who worked inside the Row NYC for the past 7 months. This hotel, located 1 block from Times Square, previously rented rooms for $500 a night. Carlos shares it is now the largest migrant hotel in New York City.
So in the hotel, we have close to 5,000 migrants. It hovers between 4,000.
I hope she don't mind me using this.
800 to 5,000. It's the biggest hotel out there that's housing migrants. They housed 5,000 people together in 28 floors.
You have the NYC badge, so you're a city employee, correct?
Yes, I was a side administrator at the Row Hotel.
Wow. I mean, I hope he don't get in trouble for this. I mean, I hope he's still employed or you know what I mean? Because y'all know how I get out there when the powers that be feel that you done upended them.
Anything involving this hotel, I was helping run it.
One of the first stops migrants make when they are bussed in is the Port Authority bus station. It's at this station that they are first dropped off, assigned a hotel, and sent to
Newsflash, leggings aren't for everybody, okay? I'm just throwing that out there.
Locations such as the Row NYC. So when a migrant comes to the hotel, what does the process look like?
They're taken to our intake center, which is they just register their names, how many kids, and they give them rooms. With our medical team is where they determine if they need certain vaccinations, which are usually turned down by the migrants. They don't want them. But a lot of the times they will have some kind of sickness to them, and that's when they're Ubered out to hospitals that work with the migrant hotels. Everything.
Yeah, but New York literally forced the citizens of New York, the citizens of New York, to take it, or else you can't get a job, you can't go in this restaurant, you can't go to work, you can't go in this store, you can't go this, you're gonna get everybody sick. What is wrong with you? You're a denier. Oh, but illegal people ain't supposed to be here. Well, you don't want to take it, it's okay.
Thing ranging from doctor's visits to medication is paid for the migrants.
I believe we have a document where car seats can also be provided for the migrants as well, correct?
Yes, car seats, cribs for newborns. There's, I want to say, at least 2 to 3 babies a week being born at this hotel.
On top of free medical care and transportation,
a week. And see, this is what I was talking about with the 14th Amendment. I know some people got mad at me. Ask me, do I care? Okay. You can get mad. You can get loud. You can puff on a cigarette. I do not care. The 14th Amendment was for freemen and for freed slaves and their children, not for people that come across the border or in a shipping container from Asia or whatever the heck. The 14th Amendment should either be amended or gotten rid of completely. Yeah, I said it.
Carlos also shares that the migrants receive laundry services, housekeeping, and 3 meals a day alongside their hotel rooms.
Anything you can possibly think of, it's being given to them. Around 200 through 300 Metro cards a day are given for free. ID services, ID NYC.
What's a Metro card? Hey, somebody in New York, what's a Metro card? Is that like for the bus or the subway or something? I see it says MTA on it. Is that what a let me see. Si necesita una tarjeta MTA Metro card para el transporte. Okay, transportation. Dirigirse a la área de trabajadores sociales. Yeah, okay. Legal, medical. Okay, so if you going to like for legal services, going to the hospital, emergencies, or to visit or to go to the hospital to visit your family. Yeah, I know what that meant. Okay, let's go.
ID services, ID NYC. They have IDs from the city of New York.
And what can they do with those IDs?
Well, a lot of...
Wait, they got IDs too? Come on, man. And from all 5 boroughs, your immigration status does not... ID NYC is a card for all New Yorkers from all backgrounds and from all 5 boroughs. Your immigration status does not matter. The free municipal identification card for New York City residents age 10 and up provides access to a wide variety of services and programs offered by the city. Are you flipping kidding me?
Those IDs.
Well, a lot of people in this hotel are working with that ID. Aside from that, they're I've seen food stamps cards arrive, a lot of services that are provided to them just for having this ID.
And then my other question for you too is, how much does it cost per day to feed these migrants?
So in our hotel, it's $383 for 5,000 people. And that's just for 1 day worth of meals.
In January,
$5 million a day on housing and feeding migrants. Where's New York City getting $5 million a day? I know the answer, but I just gotta say it. $5 million a day on housing and feeding migrants, but they don't have money to feed and house the American citizens that are homeless or I'll just say it, that are homeless or on the street in New York. So your citizens, screw you. Illegals, come on in. We got plenty of money.
1 day worth of meals.
In January of this year, it was reported that Mayor Eric Adams signed a $275 million contract that would fund the migrants staying in hotels across.
The agreement is between New York City Department of Homeless Services. I didn't know such a thing existed. New York City Department of Homeless Services and the Hotel Association for as much as $55,000 per migrant, according to the New York Post, which first reported the deal. I bet you the regular homeless citizens wish that they could get $55,000. I know what we need to do. We need to take all the blacks, all the whites, all the homeless, everything. Italians, blacks, whites, Puerto Ricans, fill it in. Malaysians, Polynesians, Uzbeks. Let's take them all and bring them down here to Texas, and I'll run them across the border here in Donna, Texas, and then pull them back across and send them back to New York so they can get that check for $55,000. Let's do that. I wonder if that'll work. Adams probably would be like, "No, y'all don't qualify. You're American citizens. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps."
across the city for the next 6 months, a budget of around $55,000 per migrant. However, the city is running out of hotel rooms, with Adams stating that some hotels don't want to shelter migrants. Carlos provided us with an inside look at the Row NYC that may give us some insight as to why.
The migrants being in those hotels have destroyed them. There's a lot of alcohol in these rooms. Housekeeping is there all week, and they'll clean it, and by the end of the night, there's kids getting drunk together. There's people hooking up with each other. I even have seen reports of certain managers who are using this to get intimate with people. It seems like the hotel is...
Oh, man, I was hoping he didn't say that. God, I hate people sometimes. Some people are just so freaking disgusting.
One big party. There's multiple guns in these rooms as well. The alarming thing is that this hotel is meant to be a family hotel. One situation that I'll never forget was I was on my lunch break and I was at Walgreens, and while I was in line, I saw one of the migrants sticking alcohol into their children's backpack. And they stick them in the children's backpack because they know we wouldn't dare to check a child's backpack. They do this kind of stuff all the time, whether it be drugs, whether it be alcohol, whether it be a gun. They stick it in the strollers, under the baby.
During just our short time investigation.
Okay, now let's say something happens and NYPD get one of these illegal migrants with a firearm or drugs or whatnot. Are they going to turn a blind eye at the orders of the mayor or even higher from the federal level? Or are they going to do their job? That's what I want to know. Let me stretch this a little more. I got a little more room here. The beauty of OBS. Yeah, there we go.
Investigating the location outside of the hotel, we ourselves witnessed a migrant so drunk he could barely stand. But alcohol isn't the only issue at the Row NYC. Carlos shared incident reports and internal text messages detailing
that ain't alcohol.
Gunmen on the premises, children getting drunk, and migrants stealing from local businesses surrounding the hotel. You were actually showing me some text messages between a social worker about a drunk 10-year-old in this hotel. Can you talk to us about what happened there?
Yeah, it was a drunk 10-year-old who was caught with a 14 and a 12-year-old, and all three of them were intoxicated. And when we looked them up in the system, the parents had checked out 2 days ago.
So their parents just left them there?
Yeah, the parents will leave the kids unattended in the hotel, and they think it's okay to leave for a day or two, sometimes even a week.
And you actually did provide us with a couple of incident reports. Let's go ahead and go over some of them, specifically the incident report where you have gunmen walking around the hotel. Talk to me about that situation.
We heard a security guard start yelling, there's a gun on site, there's a gun on site. It was probably an upset person that we had kicked out of the hotel, and it sent the whole hotel into a panic. And this is an everyday thing. I myself have been assaulted. I've seen other people get assaulted. I've had threats saying, we'll be waiting for you guys outside. There's been times where staff has had to be, escorted to their cars, to their trains.
Because the migrants are threatening them.
Yeah.
And why is that happening?
Because they want to get away with doing whatever the hell they want to do inside the hotels. There's one incident. It was my very first week working in this hotel, and it was a husband who was beating up his wife. It was my job and others' jobs to separate them. The brother of the husband shows up and starts telling the wife,
Nah, ain't no way. Look, domestic violence, that's the easy way to get killed. Nope, sorry. I'm just going to stand back and wait for the ricochet. That's it.
Why would you report him? Now they're going to kick him out of the hotel and deport him out of the country, which didn't happen. And then the brother rushes.
Should have happened.
in and hits the wife on the face as well.
And as the hotel staff, what were you guys able to do with these two?
The solution always is, oh, they're intoxicated, send them to the hospital to sober up, and then they come right back into the hotel. It's either the hospital.
Yeah, because the people at the hospital don't have nothing else better to do, right?
Or it's either send them to Port Authority and let the husband who's intoxicated get another hotel paid by the taxpayers of New York. Often at times there was migrants causing chaos with shoplifting. The one instant where I showed you that video, aside from being caught shoplifting, they started getting physical. And a lot of the times it was, go calm the migrant down, get him inside the hotel.
We also spoke to the manager of the store right next to Roe, who shared how the migrants have been affecting businesses in the area.
So there was previously tourists staying in this hotel, and now it's migrants, so you're not having the same...
Look at that watch he's wearing. Look at that.
...amount of business coming through this area.
No, same. It's totally down, less than 50% the down. So I'm not against, I told you I'm not against them, but I don't like to our business area. Take them another area, side of city or another place, not the middle of the city. We are facing, but where the business, with not only my store, all area business is down for this one. Only this area, 8th Avenue, 3-4 area, their business. You can ask any people, they'll say no, business is down here.
On top of the violence, guns, and drug and alcohol abuse, Carlos shares that the infrastructure of the hotel is also starting to crumble.
This hotel is pretty much collapsing. One thing that I saw was the maintenance requests. And in these maintenance requests, it ranged from mold in the ceilings to mold in the walls to power outages in 10 rooms in one floor. The electrical infrastructure in this hotel is fried. We have everything from power outages to fires going off. The lobby ceiling, we've had that fall.
So is the owner of the building going to file a giant insurance claim for millions upon millions of dollars to get his place renovated? So, yeah, I'll put them in here. I'm going to get paid to put them in here. And when they destroy it, I'm going to have my attorneys. We're going to go after the city for this. And I'm going to keep that money and get a renovation on the city's dime. I ain't saying that's what he's going to do, but I know how some business folks do.
And it's been flat out said by every agency in that hotel that they're just waiting for it to collapse. But the city does not want to start the process of getting them out because it's 5,000 people. So it's either going to start a riot, or during the riot, it's going to collapse the hotel because they don't want to leave the hotel.
The faster you start, the faster you can finish. Get it over with now. Fire the first salvo now.
Love the location. Who wouldn't love, living free next to Times Square? A lot of the migrants told me they could see the ball drop from their window.
The media has been reporting that one of the main reasons that migrants are overwhelming progressive cities is due to Republican governors such as Texas Governor Greg Abbott busing migrants into these cities. However,
yeah, because of course it can't be the fact, have nothing to do with the fact that New York City is a sanctuary city. That's Texas's fault too, I guess.
However, when asked if the migrants are happy to be in New York or if they even want to leave, this is what Carlos had to say.
If they want to leave the city of New York, they're given a bus ticket, a train ticket, a plane ticket in that very moment.
And who gives them that?
The city of New York is paying for it, and we are giving them that. They get tired of New York City, they move on to the next city. Chicago, Philadelphia, Washington, they're traveling around.
Would you say that the majority of them want to stay in New York, or are they trying to go somewhere else?
So they come to New York wanting to go somewhere else, but at the same time, they see everything that's being given to them and that they're right next to Times Square. So they decide to stay, and they don't want to leave. And their mindset is that this hotel situations are never going to close. And the city does nothing to tell them, hey, eventually the money runs out. When the money runs out, these hotels will close.
Carlos has worked in U.S. Immigration Services for the past 5 years, and he's the same whistleblower who came forward last year when he was working for MVM Inc. and realized that migrant children were being handed off to unvetted adults throughout the U.S. He has also worked as a contractor under organizations such as Customs and Border Patrol and the Office of Refugee Resettlement. However, despite being in the industry for so long, he shares that this is one of the worst situations he's ever seen.
I've never seen a situation as bad as this one, which is why I'm coming out. I'm not doing this anonymously anymore. I'm attaching my name, my face to this because it's that bad. I've been doing this for 5 years, and in my 5 years, this has been the worst experience by far. The city of New York does not know what they're doing, and it's only going to get worse from here.
Talk to the viewers as well about what coming forward with this type of story means for you.
It's years of relationships, friendships that are going to be gone the minute this airs, but it's all worth it if I could do something.
Yeah, because how dare you tell the truth, sir?
Kind of good, and that good is exposing how horrible the situation is in New York City regarding the migrants at the Row Hotel. The city of New York should be ashamed of themselves for what they did, and this was a terrible decision to make, was this hotel. For the most part, there's no pressure, no rush, no urgency of fixing the situation. It's just keep paying for their hotel rooms, keep paying for their food, and hoping the situation fixes itself, but it's not going to fix itself. When the day comes that they tell them either you have to move to a new location, this site is going to close, the migrants are not going to understand. So there's no way to go about it. Everybody who's staying in that hotel is in this chat group. So the minute you try to move not just one floor, the minute you try to move one room, they're going to put it in the chat, and the word's going to spread through the whole hotel, and they're not going to go quietly. They're not going to go calmly, peacefully. The city of New York does not know how to handle any of this. I think they're just kind of hoping it goes away. Mm-hmm. They think it's gonna somehow get better, and it's not getting better.
Thank you, Savannah Hernandez. And last but not least, you're gonna hear Teresa Kenny. She's the city supervisor for Orangetown, New York. And she's sharing a story on what happened when a local hotel received an influx of migrants sent by Mayor Eric Adams. He sent them from New York City to Orangetown. I don't know how far Orangetown is from NYC, from Midtown. I don't know, but I'm quite sure a quick Google map search could satisfy that. But she's speaking at the House Judiciary Committee hearing, okay? And this was, how many days ago? This was 4 days ago, okay? So let's go ahead and get it going.
The subcommittee for giving me the opportunity to speak with you today about what transpired with Mayor Eric Adams and his efforts to house migrants in a local hotel in Orangetown, New York. I'm here today as the town supervisor of Orangetown, a suburban community approximately 30 miles north of New York City, to give you some insight into what is happening around the country as a result of the migration crisis at the southern border. It is important to note at the onset that what is happening in Orangetown is not unique. It is playing out throughout communities all over our country as major cities are reaching capacity for migrant housing, and they are sending them to other communities without any regard for whether they have the resources or capabilities to handle them. Orangetown's story began on Friday, May 5th, when New York City Mayor Adams called to tell me about a pilot program he was implementing as part of his decompression strategy. The plan, he explained, was to relocate migrants from New York City and to house them in hotels all across New York State. His call was to let me know that a hotel in Orangetown had been identified as a possible location. Mayor Adams downplayed the plan, telling me there was a chance that no one would be housed in Orangetown, and he implied it would be happening in weeks. When pressed for specifics, he told me that a member of his team would get back to me. I received a call from a member of the mayor's staff, and that's when I learned that the plan was to house single adult males in a local hotel and that the buses would be arriving imminently. In fact, it was within hours of that call that I received photos of hundreds of mattresses stacked outside the Armoni Inn and Suites Hotel, and it was evident to me that the plan had been in the works for quite some time, and that it included giving local elected officials very little advance notice as a means to thwart legal challenges. Throughout the following days, it became clear that the New York City intended to house 340 men at the Armoni Inn and Suites, a local hotel in Orangeburg, a small hamlet of just over 3 square miles and a population of approximately 4,500 people. The hotel is situated less than a mile from 2 college campuses, 2 senior citizen housing complexes, and a high school. It is located at the intersection of New York State Route 303, which is one of the most dangerous highways in the county, and Kings Highway, a street of mostly residential homes. Mayor Adams' plan was simple: to convert the hotel in Orangetown into a housing facility for long-term residents, or in other words, to open a New York City homeless shelter in Orangetown, which is a clear violation of our local zoning standards. So based upon this information and what was garnered from the phone calls and the observations of medical supplies and other shelter items by town officials who inspected the property, the town issued a notice of violation to advise the hotel that it was not consistent with the definition of a hotel as set forth in our town code. Despite the issuance of the notice of violation, on Tuesday, May 9th, New York City scheduled a debriefing call with elected officials to tell us that they would be sending buses the next day.
So basically, that we don't care what your zoning and city, what this zoning and regulations is in Orangetown, we sending them anyway. What you gonna do about it?
They also described conditions consistent with a shelter, in that there would be on-site staff available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, including 1 social worker and 1 caseworker per migrant for 30 migrants, and that New York City would cover the cost of 3 meals, laundry, service, and housekeeping for up to 4 months. They also introduced us to the staff from .go, a company that New York City had contracted with, which specializes in providing medical-related services to shelters. In light of this, the town filed legal papers in Rockland County Supreme Court and retained a restraining order against the hotel on Tuesday, May 9th, effectively preventing the use of the hotel as a shelter and the arrival of any migrants from New York City the next day. To be very clear, for our purposes, the immigration status of the individuals is irrelevant to the town's decision to seek legal recourse. The town sought legal action to ensure the integrity of local zoning regulations and the protection of those who would be housed in the hotel on a long-term basis as a shelter, as well as the community at large. I also want to outright reject any charges made that it is an act of anti-immigration. Rockland County is home to a vibrant immigrant population, and in fact, I'm married to one. But over the last 2 years, there's been a steady increase of migrants finding their way to Rockland County and settling in with the support of family, friends, and local community groups. This has already started to put a strain on Rockland County and Rockland County Department of Social Services. So much so that just over 2 months ago, Congressman Mike Lawler and County Executive Ed Day held a press conference and, standing with nonprofits, explained the financial impacts on Rockland County. The problem with Mr. Adams' plan is that he does not have one. That became evident when, during the debriefing call, a member of staff was asked about what would happen with the migrants at the end of the 4 months. The response was that they expected them to integrate into the community by that time. But Orangetown, like the rest of New York State, is in a housing crisis, affordability crisis. So the question is, how are these men without English skills, without family support, going to integrate into our community? So I will tell you what will happen. They will end up renting from unscrupulous landlords, and we know what's happening because just this past March, there was a tragic house fire in Rockland that killed 5 undocumented immigrants, including 2 children, with 5 others being hospitalized. Orange and Rockland County just do not have the resources or staffing levels to investigate and remedy these types of situations on a wide-scale basis. Without the federal government acting to stem the flow of migrants at the border, it was only a matter of time before it impacted all of our neighborhoods. While it is Orangetown today, it will be yours tomorrow. Thank you, and I look forward to answering questions.
Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Rate, comment, share, and subscribe. Bye, y'all.